Hey, thank you for your patience. That was a small, really small break. Now we are ready for our next panel, the previous one. Thank you guys so much for sharing your knowledge and the reasons why your creations now are making our lives with Bitcoin even more easy. Up next, we have leveling up Bitcoin education, talking about how do we reach more people to educate them on Bitcoin, and how do we make this an easy task for those involved? Up next, we have John Dennehy, Mario, and Paco, and the moderator, Chimbera.
Hi guys. Hi again. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Bitcoiners.
Oh, good?
Yeah, we're great.
Creo que este micrófono no funciona.
Check, check.
Sí, ahorita sí. Yeah.
Okay, welcome. This is the first time doing the moderator for this in a conference, and I'm excited because we're going to talk about something that we all are passionate, that is Bitcoin education here. So I know many of the people here knows you guys, but why you don't start presenting yourself, what you do, and what organization do you represent?
Sure. Hi, my name is Mario Flamenco. I work at the Bitcoin office and I take care of education in general, and specifically I kind of run the Cubo Plus project, which is a high-level education project at a technical level, but nowadays we're also going to do economics and philosophy at a university level for Salvadoreños, all around Bitcoin and how to integrate Bitcoin in their professional lives.
Yeah. Sorry, I
You want
swallowed
water?
some No, water is the problem, actually.
Do we have a beer?
Yeah, too much water. I need. Sorry.
Come on, Charlie. Where is the beer?
My name's John. So I'm the founder of My First Bitcoin, Mi Primer Bitcoin, and we do a variety of things. Our flagship product is a 10-week Bitcoin diploma. We also, maybe our flagship product is the Node Network, right? Because that's how we expand the example of El Salvador internationally. And we also have some really important projects with one of them being with Bitcoin Beach and the Ministry of Education. And that is, I think that's still underappreciated how big that is. There's a real path to educating every student in every school in the country in the next few years. So there's a few things that we're working on, but all of it is to give quality Bitcoin education that empowers and to help others do it, right? Like we can't do it. Bitcoin Beach can't do it. There's 5,000 schools. That's not gonna happen. But we could help the Ministry of Education do it. So a lot of our philosophy is, once we get to a certain point, help others continue it.
Okay, I'm Paco. I come from Mexico and I'm living in El Zonte. El Zonte has adopted me. And one of the most important things for me is that there's no Bitcoin education in Spanish, or there's very few information in Spanish. So one of the most important things that I found here is that the opportunity to do it. So that's why we are doing here, and it's very important for us to deliver this in Spanish.
And what are you doing for Bitcoin Beach, Paco?
Well, in Bitcoin Beach, there are several activities at different levels. The first one is in the community. We go to schools in the Libertad area, importantly with high schools. We talk to the kids. We teach them about the basics, the very basics of money. And we talk to them about the opportunities that they can see now in the country. They are used to having this, what Roman was mentioning before, that the only dream for them was to go to the States, to emigrate from the country, or to previously also to become gang members, right? So now they are seeing that there are changes within their community, and so we are explaining them what is going on in general with a very big overview, and we have a very important practice, a lesson with them about Bitcoin. We teach them how to use it, how to transact, very basic stuff, but for them it's very eye-opening. So at that level, at the other level, like John said, we are working with the Ministry of Education, developing this courses for the teachers so they can go ahead and roll out their education with the high school kids.
Okay. I always say that the beauty of Bitcoin is that there are so many roles that everyone plays, right? From a Bitcoin core dev, from educator, podcaster, organizing conference, organizing like Bitcoin meetups, but everyone play a really important role in Bitcoin, and all of them they are super important, right? But why you guys choose to be an educators on Bitcoin? Why Bitcoin education is so important for you, and why it is important?
I think Bitcoin education shows me, yeah, sincerely, I just feel like life chooses like what I do, and I just go with it. Particularly, I do think that at some level, I hoped to be an educator in Bitcoin at some point, and I was like very pleasantly surprised when I got to do it, because it's like the best thing ever. You get the thing that you exist with, like your salary, doing something nice and wholesome, and like that you don't have to focus so much in like profit. You know, there's something nice about that. I love it. Particularly, I feel like the universe shows me more than me choosing specifically be a Bitcoin educator.
Okay. What about you, John?
Yeah, so I think for me, Bitcoin is something that I was searching for my whole life without knowing it, right? It's a tool. I think it is our best chance to create a radically different future from the present, because when you learn about Bitcoin, especially if you learn about it in the right way, or you have enough knowledge, then it changes the way that you think about everything, right? So I'm in it for the everything part, because I think we do need to think about some things differently, right? And Bitcoin is the best tool available that allows us to do that.
Okay, thank you.
So for me, like I said before, it was when I started learning and understanding about Bitcoin, the very first thing I noticed was that there was no information in Spanish. So it was a no-brainer for me to try to share all this information. Like for me, it was a light bulb moment, a changing of my life, of everything. And like John said, but sadly, there's no information, or there was no information in Spanish up until recently. And there's still a way to go, I think, but that was the key moment for me. Like, there's no information about this in Spanish, not even technical or at a philosophical level, which both I think are very important for Latin America to understand. So that was for me the key moment. Like, I want to share all this information in Spanish.
Okay. Every person that came to El Salvador, I think, have in mind, or at least one understanding. El Salvador made Bitcoin a legal tender, but what we're doing for Bitcoin education, because I always say, like, we all have been becoming Bitcoiners with the time, with the process. So, but I think it's important, and they have been hearing from you before, John, some of the project. But if we can, like, overview all the good things that are happening here in El Salvador related to Bitcoin education here.
I think most of us here present, we are a specific type of people. That's why we become Bitcoiners. But when you go to a whole country, well, there is all kinds of people in that country. And something that I always like explaining to every single foreigner that comes here from the first time is I like to explain to them that we were not Bitcoiners in this country before becoming legal tender. It just so happened that there were some things that happened that were special in Bitcoin Beach, and it became legal tender, but the whole population wasn't a Bitcoiner. Like, most people actually didn't even realize that happened. Some people still like don't even know what very few people, but legit yesterday I heard a woman say like she didn't know what Bitcoin was. But that's not that often anymore. But so when you have that in your mind, the fact that this is not a country made of the type of people that end up becoming a Bitcoiner, because we are kind of like weird and different and kind of crazy, right? You end up realizing what are the actual challenges of education when you want to do it at a broader scale in the whole country. So we have to deal with all types of people, all the personality traits, all the ways of thinking, brains, whatever. So I think that's understanding that reality explains very well our challenges and where we are at right now. And actually, I think we're extremely successful. Personally, I think at this point. I mean, just trying to remember last year where we were, all of us here, and where we are now, like we can just see a gigantic difference. And where we're gonna be next year from now, like it's gonna be another huge leap. But because like we're like the whole year just working, maybe for us it's like it's slower, it feels slower. But if you just come once a year, you're gonna see the difference more palpable, I think.
Okay, I'm going to change the question for you, John. So what are the challenges that we're facing to move forward more quickly, you know, in terms of Bitcoin adoption and Bitcoin education here in the country?
Yeah, it's a good question. So El Salvador is such a unique situation. Like Mario was saying, that Bitcoin just became legal tender. That not because the whole country was Bitcoiners, right? It just happened, and then there was a country that lived under that, but there wasn't. I've been really inspired lately. Like on Tuesday, I went to the Cuba Plus meetup in San Salvador, and I learned about a bunch of new initiatives that I didn't even know about before, right? And that is something that I didn't. To what Mario said, like a year ago, there were less. Now there's more, and in a year there's going to be even more. But some of the challenges to try to get back to Roman's question. So I'm hopeful for that because like there's more minds putting in the work, and the more people that think about it, the more different perspectives they come at it from, the faster we'll find good solutions. But some of the challenges are just the fact that there wasn't an existed base foundation outside of like a couple of people scattered around the country in one community in El Zante. But there wasn't that base foundation. Now there is, right? There's the base is much more stable than it was just a year ago, 2 years ago, for sure. So it's creating that base, and that goes through all sectors, right? It's not just individuals, but even at the government level. So the project that Mi Primer Bitcoin and Bitcoin Beach was involved with, where we helped train the public school teachers, one of the things that we did along the process was we actually trained the people in the Ministry of Education. We taught them the Bitcoin diploma, right, to give them that base knowledge. And then after that, then they're like, okay, yeah, we get it now. We get it. Yeah, this is why we're doing this. So just creating that base knowledge is a challenge, but I think it's one that we're making a lot of good progress on. And another challenge, maybe I already answered the question. I'm just making it harder on myself. But yeah, that's the challenge, creating that solid foundation, that base.
The another challenge, changing some roles. No, I'm joking. What about you, Paco? Same question. What are the challenges that you have been seeing in El Salvador for moving forward with more adoptions, more Bitcoin education, and your own experience? You're one that live in a Bitcoin standard, right? You earn, you spend, and you save in Bitcoin. So,
yeah, well, I think one of the most important challenges is, and I mean this in a positive way, is working with government. And what I try to say here is that governments are used to working in a very slow way, and there's bureaucracy involved most of the times. And when you go there and are so enthusiastic about sharing something, about creating a document and going and pushing it, as an individual, they can be also enthusiastic, but the system moves slowly. So sometimes that can be a little frustrating. But in this case, the good thing is that we have a lot of support from the top levels. So that makes it that when there's a problem, it gets solved kind of easily. So that's very important.
Okay. This one is for you guys. So everyone that came here came in some ways to help the Bitcoin adoption, help the Bitcoin education. They're asking all the time, how can I help? What can I do? So what you guys can do in your own experience that everyone visiting El Salvador, if you're a tourist that are here for 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, can do that really can help for moving forward the Bitcoin adoption here?
If you're a high-skilled professional that uses Bitcoin in their daily basis, put in contact with me and we can arrange maybe a class, maybe a meetup. My students always learn a lot from just simply talking to someone that it's very good at what they do.
Okay.
So I would answer this from my vantage point in Meet Primera Bitcoin, but I think it would apply to a lot of the projects, maybe all of the projects here in El Salvador. It's a really big task what we're all collectively doing here, right? And that's changing a nation, right? It's educating a nation, and that is no small task. So we need a lot of help, and that help could come in different ways from different people. One, if you have spare sats, then consider donating to one of the organizations doing that work on the ground here in El Salvador. Two, if you're really good at something, if you have a particular skill set, you're great at web design, right? That would be useful to us. That would be useful to other projects. Like if you have a specific skill set that could help, that is either, it could be general, like web design could apply to lots of things, or it could be something specific to Bitcoin, right? Like you're great at explaining how to set up Lightning nodes or whatever it is. So your sats, your expertise, and your just your passion, right? Like that encourages, I think, all of us here that are working towards this to know that we not only have support among ourselves, but like among this wider community. And that's really encouraging to all these people that are working on the mission. So simply your presence here is important as well.
What about you, Paco? What you can tell the audience here, if you're visiting El Salvador for a week, 2 weeks, what is a way that they can help with the Bitcoin adoption and Bitcoin education here in the country?
Yeah, well, there are two levels to answer this question. One is we have seen now in hindsight in 2 years a lot of people coming, especially to El Zonte, and they are so eager to help or asking, what can I do to help? Most of them just have stayed there for a while and they find their own place doing something. Not all of them have stayed there because it's not necessary to stay there. They have moved somewhere else. Here in Berlin, for example, they found another place that they can do something. And also in a 2 weeks time, I would say it's a short period to do something, but I would really encourage, there's a lot of people like have this huddle mentality, and it's okay, it's fine, but once you get here, to understand, I think it's an understatement to say that spending sats in the community is such a blessing for the merchants receiving that money. There are 2 cases, especially in El Zonte, that, well, more than 2, but particularly 2 cases that I know of personally, that Bitcoin has changed their lives very importantly in a very dramatical way, and I say this in a positive way, of course. They have really been able to build a house, change their lives in many different ways. So these things are sometimes underestimated by people, foreigners coming from other places. But for them, spending sats is really a blessing for them. So just come and spend. If you're already spending money to pay for food, you might as well do it with sats. And for them, it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. I have been seeing also a lot of Bitcoiners that I think this is help. as always, can I pay in Bitcoin? And if they say yes, well, you can buy it. But if they say no, try to go to another place. I know John do this all the time, right? And you have been onboarding like a lot of merchants just doing that, like giving that, like, if you're accepting Bitcoin, I'm here, I want to spend it, you should take it. Another good thing that I have been seeing is the waiters offering the tips in Bitcoin. That's another good thing that, can I give you a tip? But in Bitcoin, So I have been seeing that, and I think that helped a lot. So we're almost running out of time here, but really quickly, what will be an advice that we all have been learning for onboarding people, merchants, a mistake that we did in the past or we keep doing that we don't want or we want to change?
If they don't take Bitcoin, be cool about it.
Yeah, true.
Don't say have fun staying poor.
Yeah. So what will be something that you have been seeing and you say, guys, if you're here, don't do it because that was wrong. We were doing that and didn't work.
I mean, I'll take that in a slightly different direction rather than something to avoid, something to do. And that is show, don't tell, right? Like, don't just try to explain how cool Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
Just like the tip-in, for example. Like, download a wallet, send them some sats. So show, don't tell. I think it's really effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing that for example, just recently in El Sonte, one girl was designing some surfing T-shirts, and I was checking them out, and she was like, "Oh, do you like them? Yeah, I can buy 2 from you, but guess what? I don't have cash." And she's like, "Well, okay, well, I can take Bitcoin. Can you help me?" And I did it, and she downloaded the wallet. I paid her in Bitcoin, and I told her this was like a month ago. I paid her in Bitcoin, and I told her, if you can, don't spend this money in 1 or 2 months, and we will talk in 2 months. You will see. I knew it was going to come like at least 10% up. So now she's like, oh, you were right. So
Yeah. Thank you. Do you have a question?
Not really a question. I just want to reflect off really what's been said about HODL Bitcoin for these communities. And it might be something that you guys could do with the wallet. If, maybe bump transaction fees, just 2%, put that in a bank somewhere, and then reward the person who's HODLed for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever you decide, with a free transaction if they wish at that time to swap it back to stable sats or anything else, and that might give a little bit more incentive for the local communities to HODL the coin. That's all.
Where is Nicolas? we're the run people here, but I think it's a good advice. One more question, and I think we're out. Good. Well, thank you guys.
I just want to say one thing. Like,
thank you.
I always tell people to not buy Bitcoin, but to study Bitcoin, because if you study it, you don't need me to tell you to buy it. Right? So.